Hey there. Thank you for waiting for this next upload. It was a little bit delayed because we had a little family camping trip to go to Storybook Land so the boys can enjoy a bit of storybook stuff like Mother Goose and Wizard of Oz and things like that. And because of that, I am a bit behind on the video game news and I'm trying to catch up. But I have watched the Xbox Game Showcase, and so there is some news I can share about that. With this being the Xbox Summer Showcase videos and discussion, I wanted to highlight news related to those games. The first bit of news is with Persona 4 Revival and the voice actors. Yuri Lowenthal and Aaron Fitzgerald have come forward to say that they have not been asked to reprise their roles. Yuri even reached out to Atlas to ask to be reprise his role, but he hasn't heard anything back. So it looks like they're not going to be reprising the roles. Either they're going to be using old recordings or they have new voice actors. And this is likely due to the SAG-AFTRA strike for video games that has been going on in 2025. And we see that impact in other games such as Destiny 2, where there's no voice actors for certain scenes, and also for like Call of Duty, where they actually change voice actors. So we're probably going to be seeing something like this happening in the video games in the future for the next, I don't know, maybe 6 months to a year, maybe 2 years, as we're kind of coming off of this like 6-month strike. On other bit of news, Gears of War is actually looking to do very well with PlayStation release. If you look at this, it's actually this number 2 spot for pre-orders, and it's even doing better than Death Stranding 2, which is a pretty big PlayStation game. Since I am a little bit later, you can also see that Borderlands 4 is doing well as well. It's kind of insane that the $130 version is being has taken first spot. But I am also pleased to see that Ready or Not is up in the top 5 for pre-orders, and that's kind of an interesting game, and I'm really happy to see that they're doing well, especially since they're more on the indie side. And interesting about the Xbox Game Showcase is that was a bit of sequels and a bit of games in this series, and seeing these trailers makes me want to go back and play the first games that I haven't had a chance to play yet or want to revisit. Games such as High on Life 2 were shown off, Outer Worlds 2, Grounded 2, Persona 4 Revival, and Resonance Plague Tale. All these games looked really interesting when I watched them, and it makes me want to go back and try those originals and just refresh myself, or immerse myself into the world that I kind of missed on before. With that being said, my personal top 3 games were Clockwork Revolution, Gears Reloaded, and At Fate's End. Clockwork Revolution is really interesting in the sense that it's a shooter that has mechanics similar to Dishonored or Bioshock, where you have your main weapon and you have abilities that you can channel or use on your left hand. And it kind of has a kind of Fallout type of feeling to it, where you're interacting with people, from what I've seen. And it adds a unique twist to it, where there is time element. There's like time bombs that you can use, and it's the time bombs that the enemies have access to, but now you have access to it because you had that heist that you now have access to it. And so you could like rewind time, you can rewind destruction to rebuild a barricade, you can rewind time to redo something that you messed up on, you can fast forward time to cause someone to grow old and decay. And it kind of reminds me of something that I experienced with a game called Singularity from EA, and I really love that. And it has similar things where you can like alter the world around you because of the time travel stuff that you do, and it looks really interesting. It does have a bit of quirkiness with the voice acting and the world that it's set up, and if you get over that quirkiness, it does seem like a really interesting game. The next game is Gears of War Reloaded. It's simply a remaster. It's if some people might see it as unnecessary because they already have Gears of War Ultimate, which was a remaster, but I feel that it is a good remaster as well. It does elevate Ultimate more than what it was before, and now it's being released on PlayStation, so it has a reason to be remastered in the sense that now it's going to be on PlayStation 5, PlayStation Pro, and it's going to be at 120 frames per second at 4K. So it makes sense, and so I can forgive the remaking another remake, which is something that has been plaguing PlayStation games for a while. But I'm really excited about it because Gears of War is kind of something I grew up with, so revisiting it is going to be really fun. And then the next game is At Fate's End. This is a side-scroller action game. It's very similar to Sultan Sanctuary, which is a kind of a side-scroller Dark Souls, but this one has a unique mechanic where there's dialogue in the middle of fights, but also there is you have these like health point allocations where like you have 5 health points, like health diamonds, and if you get hit you lose a health diamond. But then if you hit an enemy, they lose a health diamond. And so it's kind of, instead of like trying to figure out like, oh, well, will this person be strong against me because I'm weak to this attribute, or will I be strong against them because of this? It's just hit for hit. It's kind of, if I were to liken it to something in the real world, it's kind of like the martial arts tournaments where as soon as you hit someone, you get a point. Well, in this sense, you're losing a point or they're losing a point, and that's how the fight goes. And when you get a threshold of them losing points, then you get more dialogue, and it presents a new kind of way to experience the dialogue mid-fight. It does seem kind of anime in a sense, but it is kind of, I don't see it in that way. It flows well in what I saw, and so I'm kind of excited about that. And then for the bonus game for this week is Mudang Two Souls. This is made by a Korean developer, and it has elements from Splinter Cell, so it has stealthiness to it. I do find it interesting how it kind of seems like all the characters that you're playing as and playing against are all connected in some way. I was really brought in when I read the story behind it. It's the story for the game is North and South Korea are now kind of getting to a point of reunification, and they're having these talks about this, but then there's a terrorist attack, which then splits that apart. So you are a North Korean soldier who is trying to figure out what the terrorist attack was, who was behind it, and trying to save the reunification by keeping this K-pop idol alive, which is kind of interesting. It kind of reminds me of Heroes, where it's save the cheerleader, save the world type of thing, save this K-pop princess, save Korea. So I find that interesting, and it looks really good. I'm just a little worried because it looks kind of like, I can't remember the name of the game, but there was a game that looked really good in concept, but then it came out and it was received terribly, and the developers just like took the money and run and canceled the game. And so there's that kind of foreshadow, like the shadow looming in the distance, but from what I've seen, it looks really interesting, and I'm really excited to see where it goes. So that's my bonus game, and all these will be in the playlist that I'll be linking down below in the video. As for the indie game of the week, I wanted to focus on something Xbox related since it is Xbox Showcase, and so I thought, okay, what about ID at Xbox? And I don't want to give the impression that I'm only showing Xbox games. All these games I've talked about have been confirmed to be releasing on PlayStation, except for Mudang Two Souls because it's still really early, but all these games have been confirmed to be on PlayStation, and ID Xbox has showcased PlayStation games as well. Like when Sifu was going to be coming out on Xbox, they showcased Sifu. When Stray was going to be coming out on Xbox, it got showcased as well. And both those games are PlayStation indie games, and they're great indie games as well. And maybe I'll include those in another week. But this week, when I was thinking about Idea Xbox, the first thing that came to mind was At Death's Door. At Death's Door, you play as a crow who is a reaper. They go and take souls of those about to die. Your first job is you taking the soul of a being who doesn't want to pass over at that time. So you have to fight him off, and when you get to the point where like you're starting to take his soul, something swoops in to stop you from doing that, and they take the soul. And now you have on this investigation of why that thing swooped in, and it leads to other investigations of the bureau that you're a part of that is taking these souls and is taking them to the afterlife. And it's a top-down isometric action-adventure game. It's compared to Legend of Zelda a lot, where with the combat, it does have Souls-like elements with the bosses, where it's very important to dodge and block. You use a sword, a bow, and a shield, and it has very interesting combat mechanics, and it's quite a fun game, in my opinion, and it's definitely worth a shot, especially since it is an indie game. It is on the cheaper end, but throw it on your wish list and wait for it to go on sale if you need to. But I find it really fun and really unique, and the art style is really fun for me as well. So please definitely keep that in mind and throw it on wish list and wait for a sale if you need to. But that is my recommendation for this week. But how about you? Are there any indie games that you're interested in or that you have enjoyed in the past? Are there any games from this showcase that stuck out to you? And why did they stick out to you? I'd like to know, because it kind of gives me more of a perspective on what people like. And I really love that about video games, because then it helps to inform me when I'm watching games that I can see, hey, this might not be up my alley, but I know this is similar to something someone else likes, and that makes me excited. So if you have any of these games that you're seeing in this playlist that stick out to you and make you excited, let me know. If you have any games that you've played that you really enjoyed, let me know, because it helps me be engaged in when I'm watching showcases, and it makes me more excited about video games, and it can help to build us as a community together.